Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. How do we get the mainstream media's news? We get the news, what has been decided by these outlets that we are supposed to get. There is a lot of news reported by different local and different outlets. They all go in certain Associated Press, and from there, media, mainstream media, picks up its articles and pieces of information according to how they decide to what's important for us. Sometimes, they say, well, the media competes, and based on the interest of the public, they will promote certain kind of articles that they think that we, the fish, we're gonna look into. Yeah, that's the way it should work. The problem is, it doesn't work always like that, and I will give you an example to support my claim. Is, for instance, the total silence on certain subjects that are important for the country, but they're not repeated. They don't ignore it. In some pieces of news, they ignore it. We don't find out anything about it. Or some, they bring it today, but that's it. You're not going to hear about that piece of news, as important as it might be. You don't hear about it over and over again. Like, for instance, if they want to make something a big news, they will repeat the same news, or they will write many articles on the subject that will get people's attention, and they will create the illusion that that particular issue is an important issue. Therefore, you will not focus on the real issues. I remember when I read this, I was about 17, I think. 17? Something like that. I think 17. When I read a book, maybe 18. Something like that, 17, 18. When I read a book written by a guy in the previous century, and he wrote that book in 1920s. And he said that he observed this interesting phenomenon. And he observed it in Austria, in Vienna. And he said that I observed that, and it stuck with me because I was young and I was like, no, the mass media doesn't work that way. But then I read this one and I started paying attention after that. And you can say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy or not, but I'm kind of much older than 17, and I pay attention to this particular issue, and believe me, I give it 100% an affirmative, how should I put, statement made by this particular person. So he said that he observed that the mass media could create from the trivial piece of news, or from create an important person from someone unimportant by repetition, and flooding the population with the information, so therefore drawing the attention to this particular issue. And he also said that from major issues, they would make them just die out by not covering them. Therefore, the population will tend to forget. Only crazy people like me, and probably you, will follow them because we realize what's important, because we're special. Not special ed, special. And we say, wait a minute, that's unimportant. What's the cup size of Kardashians versus the illegal crossing of a border? Which one is more important? Well, for some, first subject. For others, like you and I, because we are here together, and I know that, is the other one. Or I don't know who started the war in Ukraine, how long ago, who are the perpetrators, what's the hold in and out. Now, that is a different story. They will use it, but they will ignore certain kind of information. I will give you the example, coming back from the guy from 1920s to this. Can you tell me what are the Ukrainian losses since February 24th, 2022? I don't know. I don't know. I can't find any information in Reuters, France Press, Le Monde, BBC, CNN, Fox News, Ukrainska Pravda, even Sputnik. I can't find that piece of information. How many losses Ukraine had, personnel and all that. But I know how many the Russians had, 145,000 people, estimated to 200,000, but I don't know how many Ukrainians. How is that possible? Well, you know how that's possible. They know exactly what they're supposed. There was nobody who called all these companies and told them, hey, don't say anything, don't investigate, don't get any sources. There's no, how do you call it? There's no whistleblowers. Nobody taps in anything. But the Ukrainians are arresting so many collaborators, and we still cannot find the number somehow. I'm pretty sure there is a number. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know the number, but they don't print it. They don't give it to us. So that tells me they understand what's supposed to be done. They understand the script. I do not believe that it's not a known estimate of the Ukrainian casualties. This is just an example. So now I'm going to the Nord Stream, to the subject of this video, which is Nord Stream 1, Nord Stream 2. It happened in September. You know, 3 out of 4 pipelines, gas pipelines between Russia and Germany blew up. It was determined in the commercial territories of Denmark and Sweden. And they started an investigation, plus Germany. Russia was not allowed to do anything, anybody, blah, blah, blah. Everybody pointed, the good countries, pointed the finger, Russia, Russia, Russia. All right, my first question was, why 3 out of 4? And I knew it was a terrorist attack, it was a sabotage mission, something like this. They said, yes, it was a sabotage, someone did it. And we didn't find. So September, October, November, December, January, February. So it's 5 months since that happened, and the investigation is still ongoing. There were some people claiming it was this, it was that, and blah, 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 blah. It was Seymour Hersh, the Pulitzer Prize investigative reporter, coming out and say he got this information, that it was the Americans, blah, 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 blah. The news is dead. The United States says, no, that's a lie, bye-bye, dead. Nobody cared to follow it. CNN, Fox, MSNBC, these guys did not follow it. It was not important. The cup size of Kardashians were more important, okay? Or she cheated on this guy did this, he takes heroin, she changes her sex. That's very important everywhere. But this, nothing. Let's say, if the investigations find out it was the United States of America, do you know that that's a declaration of war against Germany? Not only Russia. And that's going to be considered a terrorist state by international law that we the good people, profess to abide by. You know the implication if that is true? If that is done by Russia, again, the same thing, declaration of war, terrorist state, clear and there. So the fact that these guys do not tell us who's who and what's what, I'm pretty sure they already know. I have 99.9% certainty that they know exactly who that was. All right? The problem is so bad that they do not dare to jump that or cross that Rubicon river. Okay? That's what it is. If it was Russia, I guarantee you, they had evidence clear and nice, they would have come out in the first 2 weeks and say, Russia. But it's not Russia, seems to me. The Germans said, that's not Russia. The other ones are, our investigations are not concluded yet. We don't know what. 5 months, really. What are you looking for? What are you, I mean, without bragging, I have some knowledge in this kind of methods of investigation, small as they are. But you kind of know how much time you wait for certain piece of information. These guys have military involved. They have the highest technology to find out who, what's what. There's not too many things. Satellite, vibrations, audio, witness, interviews, go and get the samples, find whatever explosive was used, but that's irrelevant because the Russians could use a French method of blowing up something, and it's not necessarily it was the French, you know what I mean? It's like someone uses a Colt revolver to commit a crime. It's not necessarily that the person is American. You know what I mean? It's just a revolver. So the same here. But anyway, the Russians brought it to the United Nations. And the United Nations, they say, okay, let's have a little conversation about this. It's very important. And these countries, the good countries, show no interest. They want to bury the whole thing. They show no interest, and instead of discussing the issue, they blame Russia for changing the subject of the only issue that everybody should focus right now on. So if you are trying to have sex or drink some beer or watch something else, don't do that. The only thing you have to do is think about the Ukraine war. That's all you need to do. Anything else you should not think of. Don't count your money, don't do your taxes, nothing. Because the Russians presented that to the United Nations, and the European Union, a few countries obviously, say, well, you just want to change the subject from Ukraine. No, but we can do two things in the same time, can't we? So let me show you three articles that will tell you exactly that. One comes from Sputnik: Denmark, Sweden and Germany unable to set deadline for probe into Nord Stream blast, and they will never give you the answer. And here it says, I'm quoting, these investigations have not yet been concluded. 5 months, okay? At this point, it is not possible to say when they will be concluded. I tell you, never. The authorities of Denmark, Germany and Sweden have been in dialogue regarding the investigation of the gas leaks, and the dialogue will continue to the relevant extent, the statement said. All right, so we don't know, forget about it. We want everything to go away. It's so uncomfortable. Now, another one from Sputnik from yesterday. Russian envoy, United Nations partners have no desire to cooperate on probe into Nord Stream sabotage. What, they're crazy or something? It says Russia's Western partners on the UN Security Council are not showing a desire to cooperate in an independent investigation to verify a report that presented significant details that the United States was behind the sabotage of the Nord Stream pipelines. Russian ambassador to the United Nations, Vasily Nebezhnya, said, okay, we do not see a desire from our partners to cooperate. Of course, why would they? So that's one thing. And the last thing is here. Earlier, Tuesday, Denmark, Sweden and Germany announced that their investigations into Nord Stream pipeline sabotage were not yet completed. And their last article is right here from Market Watch, from Associated Press. Russia and West clash over probe into Nord Stream sabotage. The clash is not, oh, it was not us, yes, it was you. No, it's like you are with your wife, and let's say you cheated on your wife, let's say 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and you did that thing, and that was a bad thing. But she decided to, okay, let's move over that, past that, we're going to stay together, and so on. And now you have an issue that she spent, I don't know, $20 extra for something, let's say, that she was not supposed to spend or something. And instead of discussing that issue, or let's say, where are we going to go for a vacation? And where are we going to go on holiday in Europe? We're going to go in Japan. Where are we going to go? And and she disagrees with you, and instead of arguing about that, reminds you that 5 years ago you cheated on her, and now you just try to divert the attention from that issue into making a point to this issue. We should be still focused on that one that occurred 5 years ago, than this one right here. Well, that has nothing to do with the conversation here. So are you focusing on this issue or that issue? Did we solve that issue, or that issue is still ongoing? If it's still ongoing, it's parallel to this issue. And then there's another issue. We have many issues that we have to solve. It doesn't mean that everything waits and we focus only on this one. And we stay this for the next 10 years, and maybe we don't solve it and everything else gets unsolved. So this is the argument the weasels from the European Union are making to say that we don't want to do anything about it. So this is the article. It's somewhere here. I have to find exactly where it is. Where they say today's meeting is a blatant. Today's meeting is a blatant attempt to distract from this. U.S. Minister Counselor John Kelly told the council, and I'm quoting, as the world unites this week to call for a just and secure peace in Ukraine consistent with the UN Charter, Russia desperately wants to change the subject. All right? Okay, so that's how these guys argue. No, it's not changing the subject. But if we find out, and we should start this investigation, that those guys did it, the whole thing in Ukraine will be definitely changed, will take a different nature. So yes, if we find out, I'm just giving a scenario, that let's say United States did it, the whole Ukraine thing will be changed, or should be changed, in a second, if we still pretend that we are just and objective and good people, as we assigned ourselves that little title. So yes, this piece of news will be buried about the Nord Stream, and they try to make it die out, and it will die out. The Russians will write in their Sputnik and Russia Today and whatever their lying bad news outlets that they have over there, because they're bad, and our mass media is gonna keep it zipped. And from time to time they say, oh yeah, the investigation is still ongoing, it was not completed yet, until it just dies out. Remember the guy in 1920s, what he said. Anyway, not that he was, that was the first time when I read something like that and I was like, huh, interesting. Let me see if that's true. At that time, I didn't know this kind of things. I didn't pay attention. I was not that obviously informed and into it. I had certain kind of instincts towards what's just and what's not just, what's fair and what's not fair, what's true and what's not true, what's delusional and what's not delusional. But you gain information with time, you experience, you go through your life, you go around the block 50 fucking times, and obviously you get a different worldview on what's going on. So when you go back to what that guy wrote in 1920s, you say, oh, well, okay, I can say it's YouTube, all right? You can't, So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.